Long ago, there lived a thresher whose courage was known throughout the land. No man could match him in bravery. Even the old evil one himself admitted that he had never met a bolder soul. For that very reason, the devil often came to visit him in the evenings. They would sit together for hours, talking as though they were old friends. The devil believed that the thresher took him for an ordinary farmer, but the thresher knew exactly who his guest was. He simply never let on. Instead, he quietly wondered whether he might one day outwit the cunning spirit, or perhaps gain something from their acquaintance. One evening, the devil arrived, looking particularly miserable. "I lead a wretched life," he complained. "There's no one to mend my stockings or patch my mittens." "Then why not marry?" the thresher asked. The devil sighed heavily. "I've tried more than once, but no young woman will have me. The prettier they are, the more they laugh at me." The thresher chuckled. "Then stop chasing pretty girls. Find yourself an older woman, or a widow. They're usually more practical and far less demanding." The devil took the advice. A couple of weeks later, he returned, and this time he looked even worse. "Well?" asked the thresher. "Did you find a wife?" "I did," groaned the devil. "And may I never make that mistake again. Day and night she nags me without end, not a moment's peace." The thresher laughed until tears filled his eyes. "What sort of husband are you?" he said. "You've handed your trousers over to your wife. A man who marries ought to know how to keep order in his own house." "Order?" snapped the devil. "You try living with her. I've had enough. I'll never set foot in that house again." The thresher tried to comfort him, and even suggested that he might try his luck once more. But the devil wanted nothing more to do with marriage. One wife had been quite enough. A year passed. Autumn returned, and with it came the season of threshing. One evening, the old evil one appeared once again. The thresher noticed at once that something was troubling him. But he said nothing. He knew that if he waited long enough, the devil would tell the story himself. And before long, he did. "During the summer," said the devil, "I met a widow. She seemed as gentle as a dove. I thought perhaps my first marriage had simply been bad luck. So I proposed to her. And what happened? The moment she crossed my threshold, the dove turned into a hawk. She nearly clawed my eyes out. I was lucky to escape at all." The thresher shook his head. "It seems family life isn't meant for you. The trouble is that you have the heart of a rabbit. You don't know how to handle a wife." For once, the devil couldn't argue. They spent the evening talking about courtship, marriage, and all the troubles that came with both. At last, the devil leaned closer. "If you're truly as brave as people say," he said, "then perhaps I know a challenge worthy of you." The thresher raised an eyebrow. "What sort of challenge?" The devil pointed toward the distant hills. "Have you seen the ruins of the old castle beyond the forest?" "I have. Beneath those ruins lies an ancient treasure. No one has ever claimed it. Not because it cannot be found, but because no one has had the courage to take it." The thresher laughed. "If courage is all that's required, then you may as well consider the treasure mine already." A faint smile appeared on the devil's face. "Don't be too certain." His voice suddenly grew serious. "Next Thursday, when the moon is full, go to the castle ruins and search for the treasure." He paused. "But listen carefully. You must not allow even the smallest trace of fear into your heart. The moment fear takes hold of you, the moment your courage fails, you will lose not only the treasure, but your life as well. Many have tried before you. None returned." The thresher said nothing. "If you doubt me, The devil continued. Ask anyone in the nearby villages. They'll tell you what they've heard about that place. Some may even have seen strange things with their own eyes. The full moon was still several days away, but the thresher had already made his choice. He would go. Whatever lurked beneath the ruined castle, whatever guarded the forgotten treasure, he would face it without fear. And so, when Thursday finally came, he set out for the old castle on the hill.